Hey guys, today is Friday. It is Good Friday, so hopefully you take some time to reflect on that. Got a lot of stuff going on in the world. It'd be good to take some time and just think about what this weekend means to us. And I hope that you take some time to do that. I hope while you're home, you're taking advantage of the extra time and spending some extra time in your Bible and praying and that sort of thing. Hopefully you're already doing that, but I wanted to do this video here today. Today's lesson would technically be the quiz. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the quiz up on my screen and we're going to kind of walk through them one by one. You're to write these down and solve them on a separate sheet of paper to complete and hand in by the end of the day today on Friday. So let's go ahead and take a look. Hopefully you already turned in your work from last lesson for Thursday. Hopefully there were no questions on that, but hopefully you already got that turned in. There was no issues there. So let's go ahead and take a look at today's lesson, which is just going to be this quiz today. So here's your quiz. This is quiz number 27. It's over sections 9.1 and 9.2. Sorry about the handwriting there. I can't do a small 2 and get it raised where it's supposed to go, so I just wrote it in, but you can see what I mean. So the first section here, number 1, 2, and 3, we're just writing these in standard form. Okay, so hopefully we remember what standard form is, and this is standard form for the quadratic equation. Okay, so make sure that that is correct there. Okay, so there's really not a bunch of math to be done here. Number 2 has just a tiny little bit where you have to combine and that sort of thing, but let me just open my book here so I'm doing what I need to do. So we're just taking these 3 here and writing them in the standard form for the quadratic equation. Now remember, the quadratic equations need to, your equations need to equal 0, okay? So make sure that you add that on at the end. So you take these and you put them where they're supposed to go, and then your equation should equal 0. So you're doing those 3. These 4 here by factoring, okay, we talked about this last lesson, went over some of these. Some of them will be perfect squares that are real easy to factor, and you'll just have the 1x equals whatever. But some of them will take a little more factoring, like for instance on number 7. You'll end up with 2 sets of parentheses and you'll have to solve for x in both of them, okay? So be careful of that. There's a couple of those in there. Now remember, before we can solve these, we need to make sure that we put them into the proper form, okay? So make sure that they're in standard form before we start solving them, all right? So make sure you do that and include, of course, hope I don't need to say this, but I will go ahead and show all of your work. I want to see all of your work. Remember, if you put your work down and you get the answer wrong, I may still be able to give you some partial credit for that. So make sure that you include all of your work so that we can go through there. Okay, then we've got solving quadratic equations by extracting the root. Okay, so remember, we're square rooting our squares and solving for our x's. Now remember, in some of these you'll need to put the plus or minus sign along with your answer. So whenever I get just a simple square root of something, then I'm going to have that plus or minus sign. If I have to solve for the plus and the minus of x, then I don't need to put the plus or minus sign, okay? So in this case, if I had the square root of 9, okay, I get an easy answer. 9 has a perfect square. So I put plus or minus because both the positive and the negative will solve the square root of 9, okay? However, if I have, let's see, in this case, x minus 2. squared, okay? I'm going to have the plus or minus, and then I need to solve for plus or minus. So I'm going to have different answers for x plus and different answers for x minus, okay? So I won't need to put the plus or minus with these answers, okay? So when I have a perfect square like this needs to be included in. If I'm solving for two different x's, the plus of that and the minus of that, then I don't need to put this sign, okay? So keep that in mind as you're going through. So there's 3 of those. Extracting the root there, I hope we remember how to do that. And then I threw on here some extra credit work, so you can work through these here. Number 1, we're just factoring this out, okay? How would I factor this x squared plus 2x equals 8? So I would want to, first of all, remember we got to have it in the proper form before we factor, so you'll probably have to do that, and then you factor that, and that's your answer. Number 2, we're talking about rationalizing the denominator. In other words, if I want to get rid of this radical right here, what do I need to multiply by, okay? And whatever that is that I need to multiply, that would be your answer for number 2. Number 3, what's the Pythagorean theorem? We haven't really covered a lot of time on that, but that was on your test. I hope you took time to look over those 2 sections that we missed there that were still on the test. Some of you filled those out, some of you didn't. So that's an extra credit there for you if you remember what the Pythagorean theorem is. Number 4 is a true or false question. The zero factor property allows for each factor of a quadratic equation to be set to equal 0, okay? Is that true or false? If you don't know what I'm talking about there, you got a 50-50 chance, at least try and guess, okay? And then number 5, what quadrant would the point -3 and 6 be found in? In other words, when I have my graph paper there and I've marked my positives and negatives and my negatives and positives, and I'm plotting my point on my graph here, which quadrant would it fall into? Okay, 1, 2, 3, or 4. All right, and that would be the answer there. Find the quadrant that this falls into. All right, so I put some extra credit on there. Hopefully you take advantage of that. And we'll take some time and go over, take some time and work through your quiz here. This is basically it. Take a separate sheet of paper, write all of these out, and then solve all of them, okay? And then submit to me your answers along with your work so that I can make sure and give you proper credit. All right, that's all I have for you today. Monday, we'll get into, lesson 9.3, and we'll continue forward from there. But for today, all you have to do is accomplish this quiz right here. So take some time and go over all of these and submit your answers and work to me. I think that's about it. Again, a reminder, this is a closed book test or quiz. So make sure that you close up your book and your notes and do that without the help of those. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Hope there are no questions. If there are, shoot me a text. Make sure it gets done and submitted by the end of the day today, Friday, okay? So make sure that gets done and submitted on time. All right, guys, that's all I have. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.